Hi there, welcome to Boxing Deep Dive. I'm Lyndon Hosking, and after a couple of weeks off, it's great to be back for episode number 48. We've obviously got a lot to talk about in this episode because myself and my co-host tonight have had a bit going on the last couple of weeks. I'll bring him in now. Grant Tassie Brown, how are you, mate?
Well, I'm good, thanks, Lyndon. Still trying to adjust to the time difference and everything, mate. But yeah, it's like just good to be home, mate. But a lot of memories made on that trip, mate. Just a bit surreal sitting back some days thinking about what we actually done and who we met, and a lot of people followed our journey, and
Yeah.
a lot of people I seen last night when I was at Barbambi working, and that also at the Wog Boy movie premiere I was
Saw
at too
that.
beforehand last night. So many people come up to me and said what a great, even John Stevenson, who's a great singer from In Excess, and come up to me and goes, mate, what a trip, and Vince
Fair
Costner.
income. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
because they follow me on Instagram, so they go, geez, you met some people, and then it's pretty crazy, man.
Well, there's probably two things everyone out there has to do. One, they have to go back and view all the days. I think there was 9 days of what we put up, plus I did the quick review of the fight, but also your Instagram, because a lot of the stories are probably gone by now. But geez, just go through some of the people that you met and some of the contacts that you made. I mean, at the end of the day, I was just sort of tagging along, trying to keep up. But tell us who you caught up with and who you met while you were there.
Yeah, well, even before we caught up in Vegas, and as you know, I was in LA for a bit. I mean, I originally met Fernando Vargas, in LA. I went to it was like a big YouTuber, American footballer fight night. There was a lot of celebrities there, so I met Chris Brown, the famous, rapper, singer, whatever he
And
is.
can you just back up a little bit? Can you tell us how you actually got to the position where you were able to meet Chris Brown? I want to hear the story. I'm sure everyone else out there does as well.
Well, mate, look. I went there with no ticket, no credentials, nothing. So me being me, those that know me, I just walked. There was a massive line of people, and I just walked right to the front. A few people yelling out, "Hey, Conor, we love you!" So they must have thought I was Conor McGregor, probably with the beard and all that, and the swagger, and the Philip Pline t-shirt, and So look, I went to the front of the line, but then I just seen another area where the fighters were going through. Obviously, I didn't know I thought they must be fighters, but obviously not known ones, but more YouTube. And I just went in with them in the security area, and then they were giving out, media passes and all that, credentials, and I said, "Where's mine?" So he took me down to the promoter, who actually was in the room with Sam Watson and his son, who obviously worked for Al Heyman, and the promoter actually had been over to Australia, brought Roman Kamazan over to fight Daniel Gill. So we hit it off, obviously, because my relationship with Daniel Gill, and I got put in the media row, which was pretty good, but not quite good enough. So then I processed to ringside, where I sat pretty much right near Chris Brown, opposite, just behind the judges, and I stayed there all night, and pretty much sat next to the
Course,
IBF. Yeah.
and then of course after you've been through that night, and I see you met Paulie Malignaggi and Mikey Garcia and
Chuck Liddell, Ted
Liddell,
Ortiz,
yeah.
UFC legends, all that. Yeah.
And then was it the following day, the press conference for Jake Paul and
Yes.
Anderson Silva. Now I must admit, I was in Vegas at that time. I went straight to Vegas the day after you obviously hung around in LA, and I got the message, and I thought, what the hell is that? And it's you asking a question at the Jake Paul Anderson Silva fight. So how did that all that come about as well?
Yeah. So a few of the guys, there's a few guys in the media now. Obviously, I work for secondsout.com at the Gambosis, Haney, Wayne. I meet another guy from Fight Hub as well. So they told me, they told me that there's a press conference for Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, and it was right, like literally 5 minutes from my hotel, and I'm leaving that day as well. So I nicked in to see Justin Fortune again to say goodbye. Met the famous actor, Frank from
Grillo, yeah.
Frank Grillo. Really good bloke, like just a legend of a guy. Got a couple of shout outs for some people. And then thought I'd go to the press conference. But obviously, they stop you there because you have to have credentials and media passes. And I just said, boxing deep dive, Aussie Boxing Central from Australia. So I'll get my pass, sit down in the second row behind Anderson Silva's team with Ellie Setback, who's a massive fan of, great bloke as well. And there I was. I was there, part of the media.
Nice.
And then the microphone was around, so I grabbed it. It was my turn to ask a question, and I told a few hecklers and Jake Pauls to shut up and watch their manners, and asked a couple of pretty good questions at him and Anderson, which...
Did you think of those questions off right there and then, or did you have them in the back of the mind you were going to ask them before?
Yeah. Spur of the moment, yeah. Always do think spur of the moment. Even when I've done speeches, Lyndon, at wherever it's been at weddings or my own engagement party or wherever, I just wing it.
Best way to do it.
And then I had one of the heads of Showtime Network who works with Stephen Espinosa come up to me and goes, "Mate, they were awesome questions." And did I know Vic Darchinyan? Because Vic fought on Showtime a lot, and this guy really liked Vic Darchinyan. So I've sparred Vic Darchinyan many times. He's a dear friend of mine. And so we hit it off, and and then I was talking to Logan Paul and Jake Paul and that at the press conference, and then it was time. I said, I've got to go, guys. I've got to go check out of my hotel and fly to Vegas. So literally, Lyndon, I kept the Uber waiting for me because I'd done the second stop. So you book in, but then you add another stop. So I went Dreams Hotel, Airport, LAX. And it was, mate, just, off its head, mate. Everything was happening. Amount of contacts I made and just...
that was just the start of it, obviously.
That was just the start then, and that's before we get to Vegas. And then Vegas, I mean, Jorge Linares, who I'm a massive fan of, just happened to be sparring that day when we went to see that gym, which a guy that I met, ran the gym with Fernando Vargas, his son's trained. So Jorge Linares is there, 3-time world champion, triple division world champion, still got it.
Oh, for sure.
Fernando Vargas, who I've finished up meeting 3 times on the trip, got his number, and I'm in the works of trying to do something with him and his sons. His sons were lovely boys, sparring Linares, as you saw. Then we went to Devin Haney. We went to see Coach Padman, who's a mate of mine. And he's one of the assistants at Devin Haney, so it was a close workout. We were there for that.
Kenny Porter.
Kenny Porter.
That was a bit out there.
What can we say about Kenny Porter, who invited us to go to his house, picked us up in this... What car was it, Lyndon?
It was a Dodge Charger Hellcat, and I've done some research. I think they're in Australia. They're worth about $250K, and that was his 2017 model. Then we got to his house. He had the 2022 model that I don't think he'd even barely driven. I think he said, and I think what looked like a Lamborghini or a Maserati or something there as well. Tell about the neighbourhood where we were.
So Kenny Porter picked us up. And he rang me that day asking what drinks we want. He was at the bottle shop wanting to get us some drinks. And I thought we were just going there to watch a football or something.
So did I.
But so I said, look, me and Lyndon aren't really big drinkers, so we just get us Pepsi. and anyway, so he took us to the gated community where Floyd Mayweather lives around the corner.
Yeah.
Sean Porter, his son, who's a triple world champion, I think, lives around the corner. Badou Jack, I think former 2-time world champions around the corner, and what a place Kenny had, and we were there, Lyndon. We were there and doing a bit
hanging
of work.
with Kenny,
Kenny was Kenny,
and we did the podcast, of course. Well, I can't remember. Was it the Mixology or something she was called?
Something like that. Looking forward to seeing when that comes out.
Yeah.
And so then I ran into Marcus Madonna, obviously around the hotel. Finished up running to him every day as well. Robert Garcia, I had a good chat with and swapped contacts with him. If I ever, want sparring for my boys, go down to Oxnard there. And yeah, I don't know. There was that much happened, Lyndon. Where what else,
Oh,
mate?
and then of
We met
course the
everyone.
then
I
of
got
course
into
the
the press
yeah, then of course yeah, then of course the Box Expo. Jeez,
Box Expo, Roberto Duran. I got to meet,
he
mate,
talked to
and
you, didn't he?
yeah, mate, it was cool. I actually literally walked in with him with his hand on my shoulder, like I was walking him in. Juan Manuel Marquez gave a shout out to Robbie Bomber Pete,
Yeah, he
his old
did.
opponent. Marco Antonio Barrera gave a shout out to Robbie Bomber Pete, his old opponent. David Benavidez, Roy Jones Jr., who I met before, Ryan Garcia, who I met before, but he got a really big turnout. Um, and just everyone there, Michael Spinks,
Yeah,
and then
Vargas, of
we,
course.
Fran Vargas, yeah, my man again. And then we looked at our watch, Lyndon, and we knew that Julio Cesar Chavez was at a
Forgot about that
sports
one.
memorabilia shop between 12:30 and 2:30. So we said, can we make it? And we did. And we got there in time for me to meet and greet, get a photo, get an autograph, and have a little bit of a chat and give a shout out to Costa Zoo with the great Julio Cesar Chavez, which was one of the pinnacle moments in my life. Can't believe I met him and Roberto Duran on the same day. That's just, wish my father was alive to. I can tell him about it, but I'm sure he's watching it. Yeah, just amazing, Lyndon. And obviously, I was at the press conference in the second row behind Triple G's team. Tom Loeffner, as you know, greeted me a few times. And then the weigh-in, mate, I was with the press again, sitting with Ellie step back right up front at the Canelo Triple G weigh-in, which was pretty cool. I had done an interview with Ebony Bridges. It's
I'll
up to
show that.
48,000 views at the moment, I think. Thanks to yours truly. Mikey Garcia, Rosie Perez, a white man can't jump, had a chat to her.
Mario Lopez was the other one.
Mario Lopez, mate, stopped to get a photo with me. I think all other way around. It was just crazy. What's his name? I really like Sean Gibbons. He's a character.
Yeah, Sean.
He was everywhere. Shout out to Peter Maniatis and Mike Tamura.
It was an amazing trip, though, wasn't it? I mean, it's the amount of times I've been. It's good, but I must admit, it's always sort of been sitting back and taking it all in. And yeah, you meet a few people and it's all good, but watching you do your thing, mate, it was definitely an experience. And look, I'm really glad for you because you obviously want to be a mover and shaker a bit more in the boxing world, and I think that's what you have to do in this life, whether it be boxing, whatever. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to put your balls in the line and get over there and get it done, and you did it, mate. So I'm hoping that all good things come your way.
No, thanks, Lynn. I mean, look, like no one hands you anything in life. You got to go and take it. Yep. I've always had that mentality that I'll never die wondering, like, no matter what, whether people love me or hate me, I will do what I want to do in life. I will pursue what I want to pursue, and I will not take no for an answer. I will get what I want. And don't forget, you missed something out, Lyndon, about me jumping over a building.
Oh, no.
Anito Donaire.
Tell the story.
Well, it was. I think it was maybe a life-threatening move. It was a bit of a drop down, but I went from one grandstand to the other to go and meet Nanito Donaire, who was full of beans. He probably had a couple of Chardonnays, and he was awesome, mate. And
he was.
We were having a chat. We was in the elevator with him, and but yeah, I did do a bit of a risky.
Well, I had to follow you. I had to follow you to get some footage, and I was like, Jesus Christ, it's straight down here. We missed the gap. We're in all sorts of trouble.
There's a big drop, Lyndon. There's a big drop. Yeah.
But no, it was an awesome trip, mate. And look, I know we go on about it all the time, but if you've always had it on your bucket list to go over and do that sort of thing, don't think that's beyond your reach. Don't think that you can't meet these people, because one thing I suppose we realise, mate, I know you were very you were hustling over there, but these people, if you go up and say good day and shake their hand, they're all lovely people, aren't they? I don't think there was anyone that said that,
beautiful.
Yeah, all the
amazing.
gyms. Yep.
Hospitality. Lyndon, we got to see our good mate showing us his artwork as well.
Yeah. Mate, what was his name?
What's yours? Watch the belt, but he's a great guy. And yeah, mate, look, it was really good. And I'm actually working for Australian Boxing Central at the Gambosis Haney fight. I'll be doing a bit of the colour commentary backstage with the fighters after the fight. I got offered by secondsout.com and Fight Hub as well, which I'm probably, I'm not going to say I'm not going to work with them in the future, but Australian Box Essential, Noona Boy Promotions, I guess they see what I have to offer, and I think definitely I'm going to pave my way a bit more in the boxing media part, because there's one thing, Lyndon, like I said, people can disagree with me or they can love me or hate me, but I know boxing and I can talk.
Yeah.
So put them together, and you got what you got.
Yeah, and you also need a little bit of the front. You need to be able to get in there and get it done, and obviously we've seen that. So it should be good. I'll be at the Cambosis fight as well, but I'll be sitting in one of the areas there, enjoying the fight. So I can't wait for that. We'll do a bit of footage of that, of course, and we'll obviously do a preview and a review of that as well. So, and of course Nick's not here in this episode. We're actually recording this on the Friday before the grand finals. A lot going on all over the country at the moment.
I had to go to the Premier last night, mate. I had very guest seats at the Wog Boy with Vince and Nick and all the crewmates. So yeah.
It's been a big couple of weeks for you, mate. Well, but look, end of the day, we've got a show to do, so that's been great. And again, if you haven't seen the episodes, make sure you jump on to YouTube and check out all the I think there's 9 or 10 videos there, of course. Follow you on YouTube, on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram, of course, and always plenty of stuff going on. But let's get into the Aussie news, because while we're away, there was a little bit going on, and there has been a little bit more happening, I should say, after we have returned. The first one being Paul Gallen. Where have I got here? I've got him. That's his. Here we go. Yeah, sorry. Paul Gallen won against the two fighters. Now, I know we probably didn't give this a lot of lead up, or a lot of attention in the lead up, but look, from all accounts, it was a good show. He beat Justin Hodges by third round stoppage and Ben Hannant by decision. I must admit, I've only seen the highlights, and actually, as we're talking, we'll put those up. But I don't know whether you've seen anything about it, mate. Have you seen any footage? Again, I've just seen the highlights.
I've seen something where Gallen, I think, got knocked down.
Yeah.
And then stopped Hodges, but I had no doubt that I had no doubt in my mind that he wasn't going to win both. I thought he'd stop both, so credit to the first guy that went the distance. But yeah, look, I mean, it is what it is, Lyndon. I guess we didn't.
Yeah. But I think it was a sellout by all accounts. It was a successful night. End of the day, they made money and the promoters made money. That's the main thing. Paul Gallen, so he's now 14-2-1. I didn't actually realise he's had that many fights. Ben Hannant 0-2, Justin Hodges 5-2. There is talks that Gallen will have one more fight against Hodges, a standalone fight at the end of the year under proper rules. Maybe even if it's 6-3s, or I don't think Hodges has probably got him in to go any further. I think he'd even struggle with 6-3s, to be honest. But look, end of the day, mate, look, I suppose we'll give it a little bit of attention. It is what it is, and we move on. But as I said, it's good that at least everyone made some coin out of it.
Mate, look, the No Limit boys do a great job. They've been great for boxing since they've been in the game. Paul Gallen's been great for boxing, as I said. A lot of people, including Tim Zhu, has come up on his undercards. Now you got guys like Garside and little Sammy
Goodman, yep, Liam Wilson,
all them guys. So I mean, look, that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
and that's like I said to the Jake and Logan Paul as well. Like, you're bringing eyes on the sport. I know I do have a bit of a mixed emotion sometimes about these guys that aren't proper fighters, but one day, at the end of the day, the real boxers are coming up underneath from getting paid and getting their name out there. So, as I said, mate, I've always been a fan of Gal. I'm a big fan of No Limit, Matty and George Rose. So, well done to another successful event.
Yeah. Now, on the undercard, there was, just looking at the main one was Joseph Goodall, 9-1-1, with a third round stop out of Arsene Mfozo. Now, he did have a fair bit to say after. I didn't put the clip up. It was actually, look, in my humble opinion, it was a little bit cringeworthy, I will say. He challenged...
Who's this?
Joseph Goodall. He challenged Paul Gallen to a fight, and from what I've seen on social media and the little bit of clip I've seen, it was, as I said, it was very, very cringeworthy. yeah, he didn't put himself in a great light. And I think to be calling out, to be beaten so badly by Justice Honey and then to beat Fozzo, who, look, is an honest fighter, but then to call out Gallen, who's obviously at the end of his career, I just think, yeah, it wasn't a good look. Wasn't a good look.
Yeah, I didn't see it. But yeah,
Yeah,
obviously, I mean, if you're gonna
that's
do
boxing
something,
these days. Yep.
if you're gonna do something in the sport, mate, I don't think that's gonna do much for him. But
Yeah. Look, I think it's okay to, if you want to call someone out and you want to make a bit of, take the opportunity, that's great. But for a young heavyweight to be calling out, making big song and dance about a guy that's in his 40s and is obviously at the end of his career, I don't see the sense in it. But one fight on the undercard, mate, that did create a bit of waves was Reynold Quinlan. He had a 5th round knockout of Jack Bowen. Before I let you comment on this is the clip here. He's a dangerous man, isn't he, Reynold Quinlan? I mean, his record before he went in, he was 14 and 11, and Jack Bowen was 7 and 0. But geez, he's always been a dangerous fighter, and that's what happened.
Reynold Quinlan, I just wonder. I'm friends with Reynold. I really wonder when he was at his best, and he'll agree with this. He was very inactive. Like, he went missing for a while. If he would have applied back then, see, now he's very active, but he turned into a journeyman type fighter because obviously still dangerous, but he's obviously not as good as he was, because you can't be when you get older. It's just part of life. If Reynold Quinlan would have, mate, we're going to wonder how good he would have been, mate, because he still knocked out, towards the end of his career, Daniel Gill. He knocked down Damon Hooper twice and almost got him out of there. And occasionally, he gets a win like this against an undefeated prospect. So he's dangerous still. But what if Reynold Quinlan 10 years ago applied himself and was this active? Who knows what he would have been, mate? Like, he's a great fighter. But I wish he would have. I wish he would have. We'll never say we've seen the best of Reynold Quinlan.
Nah, I don't think so either. Yeah.
But he's a dangerous guy. I feel for Jack Bowen, feel for Mike Atsumura, our friend. But it's boxing, and Reynold is still very dangerous, mate.
Yeah, I think he'll learn. He obviously drops now to 7 and 1, but I think one thing I took out of that, and I'm sure you'll agree, is that it's one learning curve out of it. Is one, don't sleep on anyone, I suppose. But on the other hand, when he did get dropped, I mean, it's easy to say when you're not in there, but he should have maybe just stopped, settled, maybe taken a breath. He tried to get up really quick, and obviously that's what can accelerate the what do you call it, the equilibrium. And I'm sure he'll learn from it. But look, he's only a kid. I mean, I think
that's instinct, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, even if you are experienced, you want to get back up. You want to show it didn't hurt you. That's just instinct as a fighter, wanting to get back up.
But, I think at least, I mean, because it's always been a bit of a bugbear of mine with the boxing thing. We've spoken about on here that as soon as you suffer a loss, it's like, career's over and that sort of stuff. I mean, it's not over. I mean, it's one loss in the scheme of things. He'll be back. He'll learn from it. Whether he gets a rematch with Reynolds or not, we don't know. But I think there's too much written into things these days. If you get a loss, and the thing is too with him, well, fighters like him, if because that was his first significant fight. Before that, he'd obviously had 7 relatively easy sort of tight wins. But you're damned if you do, if you don't, damned if you don't. If you rush into a Reynold Quinlan too early, then you get criticised. If you keep trying to build your record against the lesser lights, you get criticised as well. That's the one issue I have with the boxing industry these days. I just think we have to chill sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. But he's got one of the best managers in the game, Mike Atsumura. So
good team.
He'll rebuild, he'll reset, and he's a young guy. He's got a lot of talent, so he'll be back, mate.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things. And like you said, Lyndon, like it didn't matter as much back in the day, suffering a loss or even a stoppage loss. But now, in people's eyes, everyone's like the Mayweather 50-0. But look, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, he'd be a bit down in the dumps at the moment, but he'll he'll bounce back, and if
Yeah.
and if he's cut out to to be big in this sport, then he will bounce back, mate. And I wish him all the best. Him and his team.
And there's two examples I can think of just straight off the top of my head. Was Amir Khan back in 2008, I think it was.
Yeah,
You
good
know,
point.
he got knocked out by Breeders' Prescott, and even recently Liam Wilson with what happened to him against
Yeah,
Noine.
100%.
And
They're
it's
good.
like
They're good points.
same thing, and he come back, and now he's on the verge of world title fight in the next sort of 12 to 18 months. So I'm sure Jack will be a good prospect going forward. Also on the undercard, Lockie Higgins with an upset win over Ben Hussein, second round stoppage.
Yeah, well done to Lockie.
Yeah.
Hey, Lockie fought on my show a few years ago in Tasmania. Luke Jackson on the card. Lockie's a great guy. Lockie's a road warrior.
Yep.
Who goes to people's backyards, and obviously, suffered a very bad thing a couple of years ago. Him and his brother by some cowards, mate. Big props to Lockie Higgins, and if he's watching this show, well done, mate, because you're what boxing's all about. You fight anyone, anytime, any place. You go, here's the B side, but this time you turned it around and got the win, mate. Hats off to you. You're just like my Tassie mate Luke Woods. You fight anyone, anytime, any place, and it's good to see these guys that get probably put into a journeyman type mentality, but they get a win like this, mate, and I'm so happy for Lockie Bubba Higgins.
Yeah, well, Lockie 8-5-2 now. Ben Hussein slipped to 6-2, and on the other fight that was on the undercard was Ty Telford with the first round knockout of I can't pronounce his name. I think he was Ty, but was undefeated. It was 4-0. But Ty Telford, he's got the attributes to be a very, very good fighter. Ty Telford, what do you think?
Ty Telford is a bad dude, mate. Ty Telford is a big puncher. He's aggressive. He's tough. And if he wants to get you, if he gets you hurt, he gets you out of there. He's Ty Telford's one to really look out for at waterweight. I'd be very careful about putting anyone in with him because he's a bit of a killer.
Yeah.
And I really like to see him, go as far as he can. Mate, look, Ty Telford is no joke. He's tough and he comes to fucking kill you. So, mate, any waterweights out there in Australia, Ty Telford, if you're in with Ty Telford, you better make sure you've had your Wheaties in the morning because he's no joke. He comes to fucking take you out of there.
No, he does. All right, let's go on some other news. Announced this week was Justice Huni back against Kiki Lutelli. I think that's the way you pronounce it. November 4th in Brisbane. It's DNL's first solo event. They've obviously done some events with a lot of promoters, including myself, in the last few years, but this is their first event on their own. It's the night before a Tasman Fighters card as well. We'll get to that in a second. So plenty going on up there, but not a bad test for Justice at this stage of his career.
Yeah, well, Justice at the moment is with our friend Justin Fortune.
Yep.
At the Fortune Gym in.
Was he there when you were there?
He was getting there like the next day.
Okay. Yep.
That day. So I ran into Jake Carr.
Oh, did you?
Fortune. Yeah, Jake's moved over there with his missus.
Because he was obviously under Justice for a while, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So Jake was a great Australian fighter, Australian champion, lovely guy. So he's living there now. So I caught up with him. But look, I don't know much about how you pronounce it.
Lutelli, I think it is.
But Justin's a great prospect. He's slowly moving his way up the rankings, mate. He's highly touted by most in boxing, and which is interesting to see how far Justice can go. I mean, he's got all the skills for a big man. He moves beautifully. He's every punch in the book, and he's dedicated from what I see. Mate, so look, I guess he's got to keep him ticking over. As I said, mate, still learning. He's still progressing, and each fight at this stage is just another learning curve, mate. So, there's a lot of excitement about Justice Huni, and it's good to see DNL, doing another show and a standalone show, and yeah.
What do you make of with Justice? A lot of people are saying about the lack of power, and I must admit, I don't read too much into it because all you got to do is look at the heavyweight champion of the world, Usyk. He's not a big puncher; it just gets by on skill. Even Tyson Fury's not a big puncher. Do you make much of that? Because that's just probably the big knock that people have on him.
Yeah, how tall was Justice? Like he's not.
I'm not sure. He'd have to be like what 6'1", 6'2", something like that. It'd have to be.
Yeah, so in the old heavyweight days, it really didn't sort of matter as much as in Joe Louis and Rocky Marciano. But these days, the way the heavyweights look, a Tyson Fury, a Wilder, we know Usyk, but Usyk's a freak. Usyk is his amateur career. Justin was a great amateur too, but Usyk was another level. So I don't know, comparing him to Usyk, because Usyk is just a problem with anyone. But in this day and age, I don't know, is he a bit small? And I mean, look, I don't know. Look, when you're a mover, you've got to move for the whole 12 rounds against these big guys. You're going to be in clinches. Going to have a guy like Tyson Fury lean and put his weight on you in the clinch. And, mate, look, he's got all the skills. I guess it's all going to depend on who's champion at the time and who's around, mate. I mean, Joseph Parker's, like a good fighter. He's not an outstanding fighter, but he won a world title. He's fighting Joel Joyce. That's a good fight.
Yep.
Joel Joyce is a big guy as well. But, yeah, mate, look, at the end of the day, he's a great talent, and we'll see how far he goes, mate. I mean, I hope he goes all the way. But, I mean, skill-wise, like, Justice when he's got that much talent, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, the night after this event will be Tasman Fighters, November 5th at the Fortitude Music Hall. Connor Wallace gets a chance to avenge a loss against Letty. I think Letty actually retired, but obviously he's been coaxed back out of retirement. But that won't be a bad show. That one on the undercard, Taylor Robinson will fight. I think it's Shayoz Minaway, and Dana Coolwell will be on the card as well, amongst a few. So, look, big weekend up in Brisbane that weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Should be a good one.
Vegas, mate. Vegas. Boxing's really, really going strong there.
Yeah, it is. And I might even make the trip up there. I did speak to Mick Francis about this, so that should be a good weekend up in Brisbane. So if you're a fight fan in Brisbane, make sure you get there. So
yeah, mate,
Tasman Fighters, yeah,
do a great job, and Mick Francis does a great job. He's a great guy.
Yep.
And Connor, I tip in Connor to get revenge this time, because I think Letty's been inactive, where Wallace has had some good fights, and I think Wallace will win the rematch.
Yep, no, I tend to agree. On to the Cambosas Haney 2 card. We obviously know all about that one, but we did mention a couple of weeks ago that the Maloney boys have been added to the show. They've actually got opponents now. Jason will fight Nawafon Katanya, I think is the word. Now, he's from Thailand. 56-1-1. His only loss was in 2017 against Juan Hernandez Navarrete. Jason's 24-2, of course. So that's a pretty good test for Jason. Obviously, he's in line for some big fights coming up. He has dropped a few hints at some big news coming. But if he gets past this one, guaranteed a world title shot.
Yeah, mate, he's in a great position he's in at the moment. And it's good to be fighting on home soil again on a big show. Him and Andrew both had good wins on the last show. They've got Top Rank and Bob Aaron behind them. Tony Tolge, obviously, and Angela Hyder, and they've got a good team. And Jason, mate, yeah, look, no doubt in my mind, whether it's this year or might be probably more next year, but he'll get that world title shot again. And next time, I believe that he'll bring the belts home next time. Yeah,
no, I agree, mate. And twin brother Andrew will fight Norberto Jimenez. Now, Jimenez is from the Dominican Republic. Look, his record is 31-9-6, but it's a little bit misleading because he actually lost 8 of his first 11 fights, and since then he's gone 29-1. So his only loss since then was a 12-round loss in a world title fight against Kalyafai, who's obviously no slouch, who I know Andrew was looking to fight there. So this is another great opportunity for Andy. If he wins this fight, like Jason, will be right in line for a world title shot again.
Yeah, well, as you said, mate, if the guy's 29-1 in his last, 30 fights, that's a big difference. And like I just said about Jason, Andrew gets a chance to get in the fight in front of his own crowd. Great fighter, great guy, great team. Again, I believe too, Andrew and Jason will both get world title opportunities in 223, and I believe they'll both come up trumps. And Maloney, they could be the first, I don't know, or besides the Klitschko's, 2 twins that hold world titles at the same time.
Yeah.
In respective division.
Yep, and look, doing great things over there, and I'm, like everyone, just wrapped that they've got as far as they have. Now we can't not put this segment in the Aussie boxing. Of course, the segment, of course, is an update on Ebony Bridges and Shannon O'Connell. So we know that Eddie Hearn won the purse bids over there. Now we've got a little bit of inside information here. We met a few of the Matchroom guys over there. I happened to run into the CEO of Matchroom Boxing in the food court of MGM, if you will, and I actually just asked him about this fight, and he did say, look, it's going to be definitely in the UK from mid to maybe late November. But the good thing I like about it, regardless who's won the purse bids, I've got a bit of inside information about what the money was, and I can tell you it's great money for women's boxing. So regardless of who won the purse bid, isn't it great to see 2 women at this level getting what they deserve purse-wise?
It is great. It is great. And there's a world title involved, and I know Shannon's been a trailblazer for years, and she deserves to finally make some money out of this game. Ebony Bridges, to her credit, mate, she does bring eyes on the sport, and she has got to where she's got with hard work. And so look, this is a massive fight for Australia. Be it in England, wherever it is, it doesn't matter. There's one ring, there's 3 judges and a referee. So it's great to see this fight actually being put together.
Right. Well, before we comment further on it, yours truly, of course, you caught up with Ebony at the weigh-in of Canelo and Triple G, and this is how it went.
Always good here in Vegas, so I'm excited to be here.
So massive news in Australia. You and Shannon O'Connell finally got the first bid. Matchroom won it, and it looks like it could be in England. It's the biggest female Australian fight of all time, Ebony.
Yeah, I mean, any fight with me is big, and I'm glad that I could bring it, and I'm glad that I could bring some attention to women's boxing in Australia, because there hasn't been any attention on women's boxing, really. So we're all bringing it. I'm glad that Eddie's backed me, and we're going to win. We won the first bid. I never had her down, and I'm looking forward to bringing Shannon over to the UK and showing her, what it's like here in the UK and why everyone loves the One Bomber. Looking forward to finishing her off and moving on, getting my belts and becoming
So she'd actually go on to say that she would most likely stop Shannon. One thing I do agree with her, there's been numerous interviews with her on overseas channels, but one thing I do agree with her is that for Matchroom to win the bid is not a bad thing, because while it'd be great to have an all Aussie fight in Australia, of course, we'd love it over here, but to put a fight of this magnitude on the platforms overseas and the eyeballs that are going to be on the event, and of course we've spoken about the money. She did have a little bit of a dig at No Limit for not wanting to fight on a Wednesday night in Australia and all the rest of it. And that's fine, that's her prerogative. But I didn't mind that she probably did make a good point that there's going to be a lot more eyeballs on the event by doing it in England.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's it is what it is, mate. As I said, look, being in England on a Matchroom show is bigger, so you can't get much bigger than that. So yeah, I mean, look, Matchroom are one of the leading promotion outfits in the world. There's no disrespect to our Aussie promoters, but Matchroom is on a different playing field.
Yeah.
And mate, look, it's a fight's a fight. just like her stablemate Tim Zoo. He's got to go over and take the belts from the champion, and I believe Shannon definitely is up to it. So look, mate, it is what it is. That's why there's purse bids in boxing, because you never know who's going to host the fight, or what country, or what promoter. So this is part of it, and I think it's all positive. The fight's happening, and may the best girl win.
And good job getting that interview, mate. I've got a feeling she because she actually sent me a message after that interview went online. I don't think she was too impressed. What's that, mate?
I don't think she likes you very much.
No, well, I think it wasn't just me. I think it was who we represent. I think it's the Australian media in general. But you did a great job to get it. I think she's a little bit paranoid about the Australian fans and the press. I think she thinks we're all haters over here. I just said to her, look, we're not haters. We just tell it the way it is. We're over here reporting on it.
Look, yeah, I appreciate Ebony for her time for the interview, as I said, and I thought it was a good opportunity while we're there in the same place, two Aussies. Yeah. And mate, yeah, she was great. I mean, and I it's up to near 50,000 views. So yours truly got the job done, mate. And there's plenty more of that, mate. Because as I said, mate, I'm really digging this media stuff, mate. It's good.
Yeah, good. Well, if you want to check out a little bit more of the interview, it's on Ozboxing Central. So go and have a look there. On to the world news, mate. There's been a fair bit going on, of course. We know all about the world news because this was the main thing last weekend. Canelo Alvarez won a unanimous decision to close out the trilogy. Now, the scores were 116, 112 and 115, 113 times 2. I had it 115, 113. I was probably a little bit generous to Triple G, but that was my score. I think you had it 116, 112 for Canelo?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, look, it was a hard fight to judge. I haven't had a chance to look at it again on the replay, but I don't know, on the night, I don't know about you, but we spoke about it as the fight went on. It was really unusual to see Triple G come out very, very conservatively, didn't he? He didn't push the fight, and pretty much he allowed Canelo to win the first 4 or 5 rounds. It was just very unlike Triple G that he didn't take the fight on.
Yeah, I watched the interview of Abel Sanchez, his old trainer.
Yeah.
And he said, come out jabbing and trying to box. Triple G's only chance is to come out and try and hurt Canelo, which he's got the power to do that, because I think he did hurt Canelo later. It was a bit of a passive performance early. I had Canelo winning so many of the first rounds, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Triple G come back a bit late, but I thought by then Canelo already had the fight won. So, look, Canelo fought great, fast combinations, left jab was good, throwing that right hand over the top. We still watch two elite fighters. Triple G, you're not going to hurt Triple G with a sledgehammer. Never been dropped, never been hurt, amateur or pro. But yeah, look, if he was going to really win this fight, Triple G needed to take the centre ring and try and push Canelo back and hit him with something hard early. And he didn't do that. And by the time he sort of started the rally late, the fight was pretty much already in the bag for Canelo. People say it was boring. I didn't think it was boring.
Nah.
I've heard a lot of flack about it. I've seen a lot of, sorry, hussy for swearing, but fuckwits on Facebook bagging Canelo. I believe Canelo is the Floyd Mayweather of this era, that he cops flack now because he's that good, and he's the reason he's the biggest pay-per-view guy there is, even though I read the pay-per-views weren't that great of Dan Raphael's report. But Canelo is the main event guy in boxing at the moment. He's the number one guy. He's number one pound for pound again. And he cops what Floyd cops. If he beats someone, they're too old. If he beats someone else, they're too young. If he beats someone, they're weight drained. If he gets a loss, he's no good. If he moves up and tries to be great, he doesn't fight this guy, Benavidez or Moenga, because they haven't even had that many big marquee victories. So I believe Canelo is like cops the Mayweather flack now. He's the best of his guys. He's beaten. Look at his resume. Look at the world champions he's beat. You can go back to the first Golovkin fight or whatever, mate. Did he lose? Did he win? I don't know. I have to watch the fight again. It's up to the judges, though. It's not the fighter's fault. He did win the second fight, in my opinion, outright. And then you say he waited till Triple G got older. That's not true. They're on different paths. You know, he went up and unified a super middleweight division, the only guy to ever do so in super middleweight. And I mean, take your hating glasses off. Triple G is still the best middleweight in the world, and you know, I just think they should cut Canelo some slack. You know, because he is the number one guy. He's the face of boxing right now.
So on the fight itself, as you said, then I was like you. I was really surprised that Triple G didn't take the centre ring and really push it, especially early, to try and you know, get Canelo's respect, because Canelo just pretty much took the centre ring from the first round and almost won the first 5 rounds by default. I'm like you. I gave Canelo the first 5 rounds. I gave Triple G maybe the next 3, and there was a couple in there, but I had 7-5. And as I said, I was a little bit generous to Triple G because I don't think he really did anything to at any stage to look like winning the fight. And it was just a really disappointing effort, I thought. Maybe it wasn't so much Triple G, maybe it was he was following the instructions from his corner, but it just wasn't a great game plan.
Yeah, well, as I said, Abel Parker knows Triple G better than anyone. Abel Parker, I think, only reason he left was because you know they tried to change the deal financially with him, but I think Triple G is not as good a fighter as he was with Abel Parker. And,
Sanchez?
Abel Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez.
Sorry, Abel Sanchez. Yeah, Abel Parker's an Australian fighter.
Yeah.
Abel Sanchez. He's not as good since he's left Abel Sanchez. I think over money, as it always usually is. And it's obvious Triple G only chance was to attack Canelo early, remind him of the first fight, hit him hard, and try and put him on the back foot. And he didn't do that. So I mean, you give away the first 5 rounds, and then the fight's almost over.
Yeah, no, it is exactly.
One more round, it's a draw, and you're going to win at least one more round in the next. So I mean, it's pretty much over.
Yeah. And look, I think it's been sort of shown in the past, if you back Canelo up, you've got a lot better chance of winning, like Bivol did, and the others that have done all right against him too, especially you know, as Triple G also proved as well. So yeah, it's a little bit surprising that the game plan was like that. But at the end of the day, Canelo did enough to win. As I said, 8 rounds to 4 on one card and 7 rounds to 5 on the other one. The pay-per-views, 550 to 575 was the pay-per-view in the US, 1.06 million worldwide. Now, put that in the context, the first 2 fights were in excess of 1 million pay-per-views, so it was almost half as many. It's pretty disappointing result for the promoters.
Yeah. A little bit surprised by that. Canelo is such a huge name. He's the pride and joy of Mexico. The Triple G trilogy did have some interest, and especially coming off a loss. So I'm a bit surprised by those numbers, Lyndon.
Yeah, and it has been a little bit of go back and forth between the promoters, of course, Eddie Hearn and Leonard Ellaby, which is a little bit childish. I mean, a little bit of stick here and there, but I think they're both right and they're both wrong in certain aspects. But hey, boys, how about we just put the best fights on we can and stop with the Twitter wars, I think. But look, you were there, of course, like I was, and you know everywhere we went was packed. You know, the arrivals was packed, the weigh-in was packed. There was a good crowd at the press conference. I don't think the crowd was a sellout. There was a lot of, I won't say a lot, but there were definitely empty seats there. But look, I just thought it was a great event, and you know everything happens for a reason. I think it was good timing for the fight. And, you know, I think Eddie Hearn's doing great things.
Yeah, well, Canelo, obviously, he's getting an operation. He'll be out for probably 6 months. He'll be lucky to fight in May, probably September next year. So, I mean, you know, he needs to... and you got to remember, Canelo's been very active. He had 4 fights last year. Yeah. Yeah, people need to really give him more respect, mate. You know, he's very active at that level. And he obviously was suffering injury. He said he can't even hold a cup in his hand. So he needs to get that fixed up. Wish him all the best. But, mate, look, you know, it was great to be there. If you're a true fan, Lyndon, there was no negatives about the fight.
Yeah.
It was a great event, and I was just happy that that we were part of it.
Yeah, no, it was good. Well, on to some other news this weekend. Shakur Stevenson will take on Robson
Just
Conceição.
wait.
Yeah, big news there. He missed weight. He was 1.6 pounds over. But the strange thing is, I think they obviously knew he was overweight. This is his last fight at junior lightweight. He didn't attempt. Oh, we've lost. Thought we lost you there, mate. But you're back. I was just saying, yeah, he didn't seem too stressed about missing the weight, and 1.6. He refused to strip down and obviously take the 2 hours to get the weight off. Little bit disappointing, you would think, though, that being the champion, that he would at least try and make the weight.
How much over in kilos, Lyndon?
1.6 pounds, so it's just over half a kilo, so about 3/4 of a kilo.
Is that?
Yeah,
Is that all?
Yeah, well, there's 1.1, 2.2 pounds in a kilo, so it's at 1.1 is half a kilo, so it's 1.6, so about 3/4 of a kilo. So it just doesn't make sense. Even if he took the jocks off or went and sweated out, he didn't look like he cut weight, because he didn't look drawn. He didn't look really cut. So I just think they've made a conscious decision that they just weren't going to make weight, which is, as I said, really disappointing for a champion.
Yeah, it's been unprofessional. I'm a massive fan of Shakur Stevenson, but you know what this means? As long as he gets past,
Conseco?
how do you pronounce it? Robson?
I think it's Robson Conceição, I think it is.
As long as he gets past Concepio, 135, guys, he's coming for you. He's coming for all you guys at 135. Garcia, Haney, Loma, George, this guy who I've touted many times, you've heard me say it on Boxing Deep Dive, this guy is the future pound for pound king. This guy is the next Floyd Mayweather. This guy will wipe out the 135 division and take all your belts. This guy.
Well, that's the upside, isn't it?
It's coming. And it's a great fight. Lomachenko's still good. Tank's the beast. Haney's a great fighter. Garcia's exciting. George is still there, mate. But Shakur's coming. Mark my words, all you guys, all you haters, all you people out there, turn up your microphone, turn on your TV. Tazzy Brown is telling you, Shakur Stevenson will be, one day, the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. One day, he will be the pound-for-pound #1. End of story.
Geez, there's some mouth-watering fights there, though, especially if Loma gets thrown in the conversation as well, isn't it? If you've got Haney and...
You know what I learnt, Lyndon, about...
What's that?
Y'all don't know shit about boxing.
Well, this is a good test for him, though, because Conceição is a 2016 Olympic gold medalist, so he can obviously fight. But obviously amateurs don't always, go into the pros.
CPO was sparring our own Liam Parro last week.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. He'll be caught up with over there as well. So anyway, the fight should be good. I'm assuming it's going to be on Fox. If it's with Top Rank, it'll probably be on Fox Sports tomorrow, I would think. So check out that.
Yeah.
All right, also this weekend, it is Joseph Parker, Joe Joyce in Manchester, England. Should be a really good card. There's obviously a little bit of bad blood between the two. What are your thoughts on it? Who wins and why?
Yeah, I like Joe. He's a nice guy, but I've always said Joyce wins this one.
Yeah.
I won't say... Joe's pretty tough. He can box a bit. I'll probably say Joe Joyce on points.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you.
Might get one or two knockdowns, but he'll go the distance.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Joe Joyce wins on points, and that one looks like a pretty good card as well. It's another match. Is it Matchroom? I think, is it?
Don't you dare say that. Frank Warren.
Frank Warren.
Joyce brother.
Yeah. That's right. Yes, good call. So I'm assuming it'll be on Fox Sports, so check the guides for that one. And one other one we'll quickly tick off is the rescheduled Clarissa Shields, Savannah Marshall fight. Of course, it was put off because of the Queen's passing, so that's been rescheduled to Saturday the 15th of October in London.
Who passed?
The Queen.
The Queen.
Queen of England, mate. She passed. She died
Nah,
last week. So
didn't hear about it. Didn't hear about it, mate.
So because of that, a lot of things got
Wasn't-
put off.
For the record, she wasn't my queen. She was never my
All
queen.
right. Well, we're not getting political on here.
I'm
just saying.
not ruled by England.
Well, she was. Well, she
I always
passed
love getting
away.
political.
Yeah, she passed away, so a lot of things got rejuggled. So October 15th is the new date. I'm not sure. Is it an all? Looks like an all-female card there by the looks of things, which is probably a first too.
Yeah, that might be a first, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's it for the world news. A couple of talking points, and we'll quickly skim over them actually, because the first talking point is we actually discussed, or you touched on a little bit earlier. Canelo is
I'm
the new
still
Floyd.
jet lagged.
Yeah, that's all right, mate. That's all right. I didn't pull you up.
I'm still jet lagged.
But you make some good points, because he is the new Floyd. Because these days, nothing's ever good enough. If he fights someone, they're past the peak, or they're not good enough, or he's too heavy, he's too light. I mean, he can't win, can he? And I think, probably like Floyd, he's not going to be truly appreciated for a lot of years. And I just think Canelo's always been one of the most popular fighters overall of all time. It just seems to be in the last couple of years, especially since he lost to Bivol, that he seems to be just on the nose a little bit.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, you got to go. Like, they're talking about. They're saying he's cherry picking, and that's what they used to accuse Floyd of late in his career. Now, I mean, he set out to unify the super middleweight division. Okay, so he beats Callum Smith, who was undefeated, the lineal champion, right, and undefeated great fighter. So he was from England, okay, and he beats him for the belt easily. Then he fights two-division world champion, undefeated, very good boxer, Billy Joe Saunders. He's also from England. He beats him for the belt. So is it Canelo's fault that these English fighters had the belts? Or do the fans not respect English fighters? I mean, he beat two good fighters for the belts, yeah? He has a mandatory, which if you know boxing, which most of you fucking dickheads don't, you got a mandatory. So he's trying to unify all the belts. When you got a mandatory, if he doesn't defend it against this guy, they take one of his belts. So what? So this guy's trying to win all the belts. He doesn't want to lose one of his belts. So he makes a voluntary. He makes a mandatory defense against that Turkish guy, who probably wasn't at that elite level, but he got there. All right, and a lot of people do get there if you play the game right. So Canelo beats him easy. Right, but he had to make the defence, okay? Wasn't cherry picking.
And he did it on 2 months' notice as well. He was pretty busy at that stage.
Then the final slice of the pie is Caleb Plant. Another undefeated fighter, great amateur. He's American, not English. He is white, a good boxer, and he beats him to get all the belts. Now, how the fuck is that cherry picking?
Yeah.
You know, he beat three undefeated fighters for all the belts. So then he goes up and dares to be great against Bivol, which I thought he beat Bivol, even though he was bigger. But I just thought Canelo was that good. He's that good. A few things happened, game plan, great fight by Bivol. And you got to remember, you're only as good as your opponent lets you be as well, guys. Again, if you haven't fought, you don't know this. You're not Superman. You're only as good as your opponent lets you be. You know, your opponent has a lot to say in what happens in the fight, yeah? So he loses to Bivol. I believe he can beat Bivol, but he loses to Bivol, comes back. Yeah, there was some options. There was Benavidez. There was Charlo. They went with Triple G trilogy to close it out because there was questions about the first fight, even the second fight. I don't know why the second fight, but so it was why not? And now, I met Benavidez, nice guy, but his resume isn't crazy. Charlo's resume isn't crazy with massive names. Are they going to be bigger pay-per-view sells? I mean, I don't know. I mean, so I really think anyone that knocks Canelo is a fuckwit. Anyone that knocks Floyd is a fuckwit. And you actually don't know enough about boxing. You don't know anything. I've seen a lot of guys on Facebook. You're actually stupid. You actually got no idea about this game. How can you knock this man for what he's doing and who he's beating? I don't get it.
No, I agree with you, because not only was he trying to unify the titles, he was also making mandatory defences in the meantime. Now, that Turkish guy fought Yildirim, I think it was, he actually took that fight in between two of the bigger fights just to get it in there. Rocky Fielding was another one. He just tucked them in there just to get that out the road. So, I think he had, it might have been 8 or 9 weeks in between fights. So it's not a lot of time. So,
which for this day and age is like special. Like back in the day, that wasn't abnormal, but now it is
extremely rare.
How do you knock him? How can you knock the guy, Lyndon?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think he's an all-time great. Just one of look, tall poppy syndrome, I suppose. But I'm with you. I do think he's the new Floyd, and which is a real shame, because look, end of the day, they're just people fighting, doing what they love, making money, and trying to please the fans. But you can never please everyone, unfortunately.
You can't, Lyndon.
All right, well,
you missed out. You missed out something before that about our trip that Floyd Mayweather's uncle on his mum's side took us to
to the roller skating rink.
Floyd Haynes would be at a roller skating rink in some part of it.
And just some of the stories he was telling us, it was just great just to hear from someone that's obviously his uncle on his mother's side. So his last name wasn't Mayweather. All right. Well, let's get on to talking point number 2. Well, your internet's really not great there at the moment. We'll see how we go. We'll get through it. Last one. DAZN has been a flop. Now, I'll just make my points first. It's just putting it out there. They paid Canelo $365 million to get him on board. That fell over. They come to an agreement to get out of that. It was when time, I think it happened with Golden Boy as well. They signed Triple G for $100 million. They also signed up fighters like Jaime Munguia, Ryan Garcia. $80 million. They forked out $80 million for the Canelo Triple G3 fight. The fighters actually took 80% of that, so they only got 20% of that. They, of course, had Anthony Joshua on board. I mean, it just continues rolling. They just haven't been able to get any momentum. Now we're talking about the pay-per-view buys with Canelo Triple G. Not that that's got anything to do with him, but apparently the 1.6 or whatever it was, 06 amount of pay-per-views included new subscriptions that signed up to get a better deal for it. There's a lot of things going, but what's your opinion? Has it really hit the mark? Because Eddie Hearn, when it first came out, said pay-per-view is dead, it's all about streaming. Is he right, or do you think he got it wrong?
No, I don't think DAZN has done what they thought they would do. I don't think they're really, they haven't cemented their place in boxing. I don't think I don't think things have worked out. Like they thought, hence why they put up the price. They're meant to be $2 or whatever. Now they're $13. I mean, it's still pretty cheap. But I mean, I don't think they're anywhere near they thought they would be. They'd be losing money hand over foot, in my opinion.
Well, here's the question to ask. Did you renew DAZN when the price went up? No.
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. I don't know.
Not so much money, because I love. There's not much on there I really care about.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You didn't renew. I didn't renew. I know a lot of other people didn't renew. So that probably shows you that they haven't been able to live up to the expectations. And look, let's face it, we got $2 DAZN for the first 6 months or 12 months, which is great. We all expected to go up, but when it did go up, when the option was there, I went, yeah, you know what? I don't think it's worth spending that amount of money. I just don't see the content there. So that would probably show. And the other thing I was going to say too is the commentators are bloody atrocious. And I think until they get that right, the whole thing will not work. They just haven't got the right production on it.
No, I agree, mate. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a flop, to be honest.
Yeah. So, and I know there's, as we said earlier, there's a bit of the go back and forth between Ellaby and Hernan at the moment. But I think even Eddie would have to look at it and go, yeah, this hasn't really worked as well. And the executives at DAZN would have to say, geez, how long can we afford to keep pumping the money in and getting investors involved? So let's hope we're wrong. I just, like you, mate, I just long for the days of HBO and all those sorts of ones. But anyway, whether we get back to that, who knows?
I'd love to hear Jim Lampley's voice again.
Yeah, Roy Jones, George Foreman, it'd be great. But as we always say, it is what it is, and that's progress. But if I'm going to pay that amount of money for an event, I want a HBO quality event, not the second rate stuff. I think we're getting dished up by DAZN. I'm not sure it's going to be around for too much longer, if you ask me. But hopefully we're wrong, and someone else might get it right. Maybe the networks might come back on board.
Let's hope so, mate.
Yeah, all right, mate. Well, I'll let you go. Looks like you're still a little bit jet lagged there. I know you jumped straight back into work when you got back, so I can understand you're a little bit tired. I was fortunate enough to have a few days off, so I'm completely rested. But mate, thanks for. Sorry.
I had to get back to work, mate.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. But thanks for taking the time out, mate, to do it today. It is the day before the grand final. There's a lot going on. And look out on Monday night. I'll be back for Talking Boxing Live.
Fuck the grand final. Collingwood's not in it. I don't give a shit.
Carlton's not either, so I'm with you. But all right, we'll have a good weekend, mate, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.